Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Somebody let me know that you can hear me, but my mic is on. It oftentimes isn't when I start, as many of you know. And as far as I can tell, I'm not on mute on my computer. So I will just wait till somebody says that they can hear me. There's about a 30-second lag or so. But hi, everybody. I'm seeing everybody saying hi to everyone. There's 38 people already just waiting for this to start. That's a good. All right. Scar Dry, thanks so much. I can hear you. That's great. That means probably other people can too. Great. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for saying that. Cool. All right. So I have Jenny Craig here, and I have her because Amy, this Amy right here. Hi, Amy. Sent me a list of a bunch of snakes that I haven't shown in a long time. That was really helpful. So we're showing off Jenny Craig here. She is off her diet. She's been off her diet for a while. She did very well on that diet. And she's back to, she just eats small and actually kind of small, medium rats now. She's doing very well. And she's a healthy girl. So what I'm going to do is put her over here. Here, let me give you the other camera view. And then we'll just, because she wants to roam. So we'll put her, I kind of want her to go the right direction, though. We'll let her find her way maybe into a hide or something. And there she goes. Perfect. She was out earlier today, and she just likes to find hides to hang out in. She'll go in that one and then sit for a few minutes and then come out and find another one. She likes to test them all. Okay. So if I do that, there we go. Now we have two views. So yeah, Jenny Craig's doing great. She is a very strong eater, and I can understand why she had been overfed before I received her, because she does always want food. But at this point, she gets food that is a healthy amount for her to grow up to be a lovely breeding mama at some point. So here's what we're going to do. This, you guys, this is our 50K. We just hit 50K last week. And so this is the 50K live stream. I have a few things to celebrate it. First of all, this is a great time to break out the Lagavulin 16, which I've had for a while, but haven't drank much of because this is kind of a special one. So that is what I'm drinking. Lagavulin 16 is one of my absolute favorites. So good. It's so good. It's like dessert to me. So that is that's that. I've got a new hat. I bought myself a Stetson hat to celebrate my 50K. It's not a high-end Stetson. In fact, I would call it a low-end Stetson. But it is a Stetson. It's just felt, just in regular wool felt, not beaver felt or anything like that. But it is a nice hat, and I bought it thinking, oh, I'll take it to the Amazon with me. It's like an outdoor hat, but it got here, and I realized it's like thick felt. There's no way I'd roast in this thing in the Amazon. But for this time of year, I love it. So I'm happy with the new hat. This is the 50K hat, and then YouTube sent me a thing, which is so nice because YouTube always acknowledges creators at the 100,000 subscriber level and then the million and whatever. But at 50,000, I didn't realize this. They sent me, they usually do the silver play buttons for the 100,000. And then I think there's like a diamond, maybe at a million or something. I'm not sure, but this is what they sent me. And it's really nice. It's actually copper plate. It's not a precious metal, although they do make pennies out of it. So there is some value to it there. And this is a piece of copper. They didn't bevel the edges, so you could really hurt yourself on it if you held it wrong. But I think at the 50,000 subscriber level, YouTube is probably not as concerned with the safety and welfare of their creators. But really nice of them, you know, to send me that. Look at, they put my name right on it. Presented to Green Room Pythons. Really nice of them. So thanks to YouTube for that. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm just going to say general hi to everybody because there's so much in the chat right now already. I love that you guys just get right into chatting with one another. It's great. So let's see. Where am I at here? Oh, somebody wanted the theme song on the banjo for 50K. So we'll do that real quick. Let's see if I can do it. Those of you who have been around when I've tried to play it live know that it might take a couple tries. It's not a tune that I often play, but here we go. Okay. Seeing if I was even in tune for it. One more pass. That second pass was about as close as we're going to get, I think, without spending too much time on it. But there you go. That's the old theme song. Those of you who are watching my old videos might recognize it. Hopefully can recognize it. Like hopefully I played it fairly similarly to how it was recorded originally. All right. When I first made that, wrote that little piece, I didn't write, you know, I just sort of plucked around on the banjo. I wasn't trying to write a thing. I was trying to find an old banjo tune that was about a snake. There had to be one, right? There's not. Nobody's ever in the history of the world written a banjo tune about a snake. So I wrote that one, and it's called The Snake Herder's Lament. So there's that. What's the list? That's close to that. We're going to get to a bunch of questions from Patreon. Got them right here on the clipboard. So we're going to do Q&A. Here's what I have. Oh, she's just in that hide. Let me see if you can see her from the. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, that was a perfect time to switch to the cam. She's trying to decide whether she wants to come out or not. She's all about safety. You know, she'll sit in there and sort of test the waters for a while and then come out and go into another one. So what I have here is echo in a log. Watch this. I'll show you. So echo is in this log right here. It's not, let's see, can you see? Oh yeah, you can see her. So she's just sitting in that log. You can't see her very well. The camera's a little bit far away, but she's been in there, I believe, for about 2 days. And I'm going to show you something in a second. Greg, thanks for the super chat. Do you have a question to go with that? Is that our first super chat of the night? By the way, let me see. It is. So for those of you who are new to the live stream, if you're joining us live and you want a question seen, super chat it, and I will see it. But a lot of times I don't. But don't worry, because we have a backup. I have a couple people who will text me if I miss a super chat. So don't worry about it. We'll get there. I'm supposed to see them because I'm literally looking at the chat, and you would think that I would see everyone, but I don't always. So I just saw Taylor's. Taylor just super chatted. Hi, Taylor. Thanks for that super chat. Requesting the GRP theme song be made into a ringtone because we all need it. Okay, I don't know how to do that, but I'll figure it out. There's got to be a way to make a ringtone, right? Okay, I'll handle that. It's a great idea. It's a great idea. Where was I at? Oh, I was telling you about Echo. So, I made there are 2 full-length videos that just went up on Patreon, and they're about training 2 of my snakes who, when they're free roaming, they often think that I'm food. And so I made them for Patreon because they're not too applicable for most people. So they're not general videos, but they're long. I thought they were going to be short, and they're actually long. And the first one is all about Echo. And Amanda, thanks for the super chat. I'm going to get to yours in just a second. So the first one is all about Echo, and it's actually up for the free Patreon members. So if you can join Patreon for free now. So that I allowed for everybody that's on Patreon. So if you're not on my Patreon and you want to just see that Echo video, go to patreon.com/greenroompythons, join for free. And that video is up. It's like 18 minutes of me working with Echo. But in that video, I played this. Now, the reason I'm showing this is I want you to watch Echo's eyes. I did a close-up of her in her log yesterday. She hasn't been out of that log since long before I shot that. Here, I'm going on different subjects, but so last night, what I did is I just picked up the log and put it in her cage. She stayed in it all night. I think she might have come out while I was asleep, but I don't think so. She was curled up the exact same way. When I woke up this morning, I pulled the log out of her cage and put it back on top of the thing. But look at this little video. So this is a great way to tell if you can see your snake's pupils. This is how you can tell if they're asleep, awake, if they're keyed up on food. What's going to happen here is Echo's sleeping in her log. I'm trying to get a close-up of her. I accidentally touch the log. She wakes up. You're going to see me jump the camera back. But watch her pupils during this whole thing. You're going to see them slightly open as she's waking up, and then they get real big because she thinks I might be feeding her. Here we go. 24 seconds worth of video. So that is, I thought she was going to strike. So that's why I jumped, because sometimes she'll wake up and strike immediately. She didn't strike immediately. So I knew I was probably safe to go back and get that close to her. But she definitely was keyed up. There was plenty of light in the room at the time. So she didn't need her pupils to be that big, but that's what they do when they get keyed up on food, or on anything. If they need their senses heightened for any reason, their pupils go like that. So that's for pretty much any snake. If you can see their pupils, many snakes you can't. Maya's video is the other one. That's for I put that up for paid Patreon people. And Maya, since she's a black-headed python and her eyes are black, you can't see her pupils. So you don't know what she's thinking as much. Okay. Now we're going back to the super chat. Hang on. There's 2. Amanda, thanks so much for that. I'm so excited. This is month 6 of taking a year to research, decide on a ball python. So halfway there. Thank you for teaching me so much. You're the best. Oh, Amanda, that's fantastic. That's a long time to research, but that's good. It's great that you're taking the time. A lot of times people will put that time limit on themselves, and usually it has to do with something else, like they're going to be moving in a year, and when they move, they'll be able to get their animal, and so they're going to spend that time researching. But if you just randomly decided a year, I bet you have the knowledge you need in your 6 months of researching. That's my guess. That's great though to do all that research. Fizzy, thanks for that super chat. You could release the Snake Hoarder's Lament on YouTube Music as a 50K celebration. Taylor, you beat me to it. Oh, that's a good idea. But can you take a YouTube video and turn it into a ringtone? Do I have to release it as a ringtone, or can I just put the file out there and then you make it a ringtone? I don't even know how that works. Is that surprising? You're talking to a guy who looks like this. Is it surprising that I don't know how to make a ringtone and distribute it to the masses? Okay. I think we're caught up on super chats. Great. Okay. Where am I at? Matt, are you on to give us an update on Spitfire? Because I do want that. I don't see Matt in the comments right now. But if you're in, say it. And hopefully I don't miss it. I'll tell you though, so Spitfire is the name of the snake that I spent a week trying to tame. If you saw that video, I spent a week. I had a week before I had to send this. Oh, Matt's here. Matt, give us an update. While you're typing it, I'll just say I spent a week trying to tame the snake down. It was the most bitey snake of any, most offensive snake that I've ever hatched. And she just would strike at any heat signature, whether there was a thing there or not. If she sensed heat, she struck at it. And so I made that video that I'm sure many of you saw. Probably some of you haven't. And this is a great question from Pi. I want to know how many times you've been bitten, Matt, because she was doing a lot better by the time I sent her out, but still a striker. So I'm going to say that Amy says she can make a ringtone for me. All right. So Amy, text me now if you want to tell me something for the, like if I miss a super chat or something like that, send me a text so I get that notification. Because if I hear the ding, I'm probably not going to look at it, but the text I will look at. All right. Okay, so here's Matt's. She just ate again yesterday, so we're taking a break from handling. I can now drink my coffee without spilling it, and I've only been bitten 3 times in total. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You've had her for quite a while now, and if you've only been bitten 3 times, that's not bad. Okay. All right. Thanks for the update, Matt. He was telling me the other day that she is, and I agree, I saw it too when she was here, that she's very aware of her surroundings, and he distracts her with one hand while he picks her up with the other, which is the way to do it. That's how you handle a venomous snake. And that's how I would do it oftentimes with that little snake. Kevin, thanks for the super chat. Kevin at KDIA. No question, just here for the party. Congrats on 50K. Cheers. Thanks, Kevin. That's really nice. I appreciate that. Matt says she spends most of her time climbing her plants when she's not in a hide. He's got her in a bioactive, a really cool looking bioactive enclosure. That's great that she is using it, climbing around and such. That's right, Tyler. You should not handle them after they eat. That's true. Depends on the, in general, if you're not super experienced, 2 days is a great rule. But I will handle mine 24 hours after if they haven't eaten a big meal. Like if the lump in their belly is gone, or I know it was kind of a small meal, 24 hours is fine. Otherwise 48. Or I might go longer if it's a snake meal. I might go longer. It just depends. But 8 hours going to be in situation. Okay. Let's get let me get another snake out. Who's on well, actually I have had Anya out. What about Captain Ferrell? You guys haven't seen Captain Ferrell in a while. Be right back. Hey, Captain. Hi, Captain. What's going on? Here's the captain. I like this guy. He hangs out with me often in the mornings. Oh, my mom is texting me. She can't comment because she's using her Kindle. She's in Branson right now with the family. Okay, so hi everybody. I have aunts and uncles, and maybe one of my sons is there. Ryan, are you there? Maybe two of my sons. Brandon might be there too. I'm not sure who all went. But hi everybody. Okay. So we got the captain here. He's doing well. He hangs out with me in the mornings. That's what I was saying. He's often awake and moving in the morning, and especially when it's around time for him to eat. Which on his around close to his day for eating, which is today. He's going to get some food today. A lot of the snakes are getting fed tonight. Lots of feedings are happening. Okay. So mom's just giving me updates on who's there. Okay, so I'll look at that later. All right. People are saying hi. I don't know, Mom. I don't know if you can see the chat, but people are saying hi, Mama Bledsoe. Generally happy that you're here as people are. I'm sorry that you can't comment from your Kindle. Captain, can you go around my neck? All right, let's start with these Q&A. So once again, Amy has compiled these for me and put them in order of subject, which is so fancy. Like this glass, this Glencairn glass, very fancy. Oh, and it's also fancy because it says green room pythons on it. Can you even see that? You can't, but that's what it says. Okay. Hold on one second. Okay. All right. So Sinatuli, I hope I'm saying that right, asks, what do you advise to look for when buying a snake online? Look for the exact snake that you want, for one thing. But it's really important that you're buying from a reputable seller and a reputable breeder. I like to buy from breeders, not just sellers. I like to talk to the person that bred the snake. And so I love to go down a rabbit hole of learning about the breeder, making sure that they have a good reputation and making sure that they've been around. They don't have to have been around for a while, but at least be able to figure out who you're buying from. That's really important, because you can't tour their facility. You can't hold the animal before you buy. So, that's the most important thing. Make sure you're buying from somebody reputable. Rennie says, I'd love to hear about boa versus ball python. I know it's green room pythons, but I really love Handsome Dan. So she's asking intelligence, temperament, enclosure, all that good stuff. So it's very much like ball python care. And he's very similar. He's similar in temperament to a ball python, in that he's totally cool with me taking him out, and he has his favorite spot in the room that I kind of reserve just for him. because I don't want to have other snakes. I don't like to mix species if I have snakes out. Like today I had, I think 4 snakes out at once, but they were all in different parts of the room because it was, well, Echo and Stella were out together, and they can be together because they're the same species. I had Handsome Dan on his spot, and I had Jenny Craig was out in a hide, and I think Damara was out behind the mirror. Anyway, that's details that you don't need. But the point is, I don't remember where I was going with that, but we're talking about Handsome Dan's temperament. It's about the same as a ball python. He's happy to because I said he's got his favorite spot. That's what it was. He's happy to be handled. I don't worry about him biting. He's a Central American boa, which has a reputation of being more cranky, and he only has struck at me once when I first got him, and he wasn't used to me yet. It was a bluff strike. And now he just, he wants his food every day. He's always looking for food. I'm going to do a full video on boas, but I'll tell you, they're very, the care and personality and everything so far is very much like a ball python. He is out moving around more during the day than my ball pythons. So he comes out more often. I'll say that. Comes out more often, doesn't tend to wander very much. He finds a spot that he wants to be, not a hiding spot. Usually it's out in the open that he wants to be, and he stays there for oftentimes all day. So that's a little different, I guess. That's a good question, Veta. Does he actively hunt like Echo and Maya? So Maya is an active hunter, meaning she's moving to look for food. In the Australian outback, she would be moving around the desert, actively looking for food. Echo is an ambush hunter. Reticulated pythons and ball pythons are ambush hunters. They'll set up an ambush somewhere and hunt that way. And same with boas. They're gonna set up an ambush. And that's what he does. It's interesting. He kind of sets up like Echo does, where he's like hanging off something and it looks like he's waiting for food. But if I put my hand there, he doesn't get excited like Echo does. So I'm not really sure if he's just resting there and he looks like he's in this sort of food strike position, or if that's what he's doing, Jake Moser, congratulations for entering the Horde of Keepers. That's if you're on Patreon, you're part of the Horde of Keepers. The paid Patreon. There's a free end and the paid end. I really like that there's a free end of the Patreon though now, because I'm going to start creating content for people that are on just for free, and if they want to be a member of the Horde of Keepers and do the paid stuff, they get more content. But I like that I can have more members, because you can just jump in and be free on Patreon now. It's really cool. So anyway, Jake, welcome. Glad you're on board. All right, let's get back to these questions. I'm only 2 in. This might be a long live stream, you guys. Annie asks, these are all, by the way, all these questions are from Patreon. A couple days before the live stream, I asked Patreon to submit their questions, and then I have a clipboard full of them. So that's where they're coming from. Annie asks, what made you love snakes? I'm 55 and just got into them in the last 4 months. Never thought I'd own one. Yeah, I see that a lot. I see where, you get into learning about some sort of animal, whether it's a snake or a bird or, anything. And all of a sudden you're into it. And that could happen at any age. It's really cool to do deep dives on animals. For me, I've had reptiles my entire life and have been fascinated by them my entire life. So it's that interest has been around for a long time. I'm a big fan of animal behavior, and any animal behavior, dogs, cats, anything. And reptile behavior is super fascinating to me because reptiles are so different than us. You know, they're not mammals. So what motivates them to behave the way they do is really interesting to me. Jacob, thanks for the super chat. Jacob says, "Love your videos, Bob. Thanks. Keep doing what you do." That's so nice. Thank you, Jacob. I appreciate that. That was without even a question. Nice of you to say that. We have over 150 people in right now, you guys. You know, if you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button. Don't lie though. Like if you don't like it, don't even worry about it. But if you do, if you're liking it, you know, you can hit the like button. Okay, here we go. Chaos Keeper says, "Have you made arrangements for their care in the event they outlive you? If so, can you share some ideas? I haven't found any of my family or friends interested enough to will them to. Not yet, at least. I'm still working on a couple of them, though." And then Amy, because Amy, remember, compiled this, Amy put a little note on this page that says, "Dibs on Kata. Obviously, I'll buy her from your family. And if they want to keep her, that's fine. But still dibs," she says. So Amy Bentley is planning for my eventual death, which is something that a nemesis does, not a friend. So that's how good a friend Amy Bentley is, you guys. Planning for my death. Okay. Yes, I have made plans. Sort of. I've basically told my three boys, I've said, look, you guys need to start watching my videos and learn about snakes, because when I die, you guys are taking the snakes. and we've actually had a long conversation about it where, you know, I've told them about they could take them and keep them, or they can take them and sell them, you know, whatever. But it's important, I think, to have it written down, like instructions of what to do if you die and you're, you know, whoever it is that's going to be handling the situation, whether they're planning to keep the snakes or not. I think the important thing is to explain to them how to sell them to, you know, how to make sure that they go to good homes. And so, you know, you talk about morph market and or what, you know, whatever it ends up being. You know, you figure, like, if you had to sell your snakes tomorrow, what would you do to get rid of them? You need to have that planned out and written out for someone who knows nothing. And then also care, you know, all the, you know, who the snakes are, what their temperament is, what the care is, stuff like that for each one. That's all important stuff to have planned out. So it's a good question, though. These animals live a long time, and for old people, old meaning over 40, you should have a plan, because they could potentially live 40 years, you know, and you might not. I mean, you might not live 80 years. I hope you do, though. I hope every one of us exceeds 80 years by a lot. How's the inspector's bioactive holding up? Have you had to replace any plants? No, I have. This is from Matt, who just gave us an update on his little snake. That's a good question, Matt. I haven't replaced any plants. I do have to replace one. I had a vine in there that I didn't think was going to make it, and as it turns out, it didn't make it. It's just dead in there, and I need to do something about it. But the other plants are doing well. I've got the other vine that's in there is a Swiss cheese vine, and it's got some brown on the leaves, and I think it's because it's getting too much water. But it's doing well. It's work to upkeep a bioactive that a ball python is living in. So that is the update on that. Here's what I'm going to do, because I just saw Amy say this, that she wants them all. Here's what's going to happen. If I ever die, I'm not saying when, because who knows, I could live forever. Amy's in charge of all the snakes. So Amy, you're in charge, but they belong to my kids. You get what you want, but you got to come over and handle all this. Sorry to make you do all that, but you know, I think that's the best thing to do, because you're going to know better than my kids will, unless I can get just one of them to really be interested in it. Actually, I have two of them, but they're just very busy. They're busy men. Oh, okay. I'm back on this. Okay, Jason, one of our wonderful moderators in the Discord, is asking. By the way, Jen is our moderator here in this chat. Thanks for doing that, Jen. It's the first time that we decided that we should have a moderator in the chat, and she's a great moderator over on Discord. Also, if you're not on the Green Room Pythons Discord, you should be. Check the description of the videos, maybe the description of this one even. Oh, in fact, it is. In the description of this video is the invite link to Discord if you're not on it. But anyway, Jason, who's a great moderator over there, says, now that Echo and Stella are reaching the 2-year mark, they're about 2.5 at this point, I think. I should check. What type of male are you considering picking up in the spring for future pairings? You know, I'm not going to pair them at 3 years. I'm probably going to pair them closer to 5 years. But we'll see how big they are. But the male, you know, I got those two, and I was initially thinking that I wanted to do a cow project. And cow is a combination of two genes, and when those two genes come together, you get a snake that hatches out all white. But as the snake grows, it gets more and more spots, and it ends up looking like a Holstein cow. This is in reticulated pythons, and it looks amazing. But it's hard to do. The one of the two genes is extremely expensive, and I realized that I love reticulated pythons because I love their natural pattern. And even though I think cow is really cool, it completely wipes out their natural pattern. So what I've decided is that I think I want a male that has just a handful of incomplete dominant genes, incomplete dominant genes, so that I can pair him with these girls and just get a hodgepodge of different mixes of things. So golden child, which also wipes things out, but I really like it. You know, golden child, tiger, other things. Marble is cool. You know, I probably, when I'm ready to really start looking, I'll probably just call Garrett and see what he's got. And then if he's got something, then I'll get that from Garrett. And if not, I'll sort of put feelers out and see who's got cool stuff, you know. The other thing with cow, if I worked on that, that's multiple generations to eventually get a visual. And the snakes aren't as interesting. You know, the snakes that you have to hatch out, you got to hatch out a lot of snakes before you start getting visuals. And I'd rather just have some really cool looking animals. You know, there's a lot of people that are very interested in babies from Echo and Stella, whoever their favorite one is of those two, you know. And I want to be able to have some cool options for them, you know, of cool looking snakes. Not necessarily the most expensive. Right now, cow retics are extremely expensive. That's, you know, they won't be by the time I would even be able to start making them. The price will be way down. But still, I'm not trying to like make and sell the most expensive crazy snake. I want to be able to provide people with some well socialized reticulated pythons, you know, super dwarf, small reticulated pythons, which I believe are a fantastic pet. Okay. Where are we at? Oh, okay. So that was Jason's first question. His second question is, have you ever tried feeding chicks or quail to your ball pythons? If so, how did it go? Yes, I have. In fact, Jenny Craig, who we saw at the beginning of this and is still sitting in that hide over there, had lots of chicks when I first got her because that was her diet. I put her on a diet where I spaced out her feeding a lot more, and every other feeding was a rodent, and the other one, you know, the next feeding would be a chick. And she took them no problem. She was happy to take them, but chicks are nutritionally not nearly as dense. They don't have nearly the fat on them or the nutrition. And so as a practice, I wouldn't normally do that. It worked great on her diet though, because she went from eating every, I think 2 days or 3, I think it was every 2 days. He was, the person that owned her before, he was feeding her. And so I spaced it out. She got fed every 2 weeks, and she'd get a chick. And then 2 weeks later, she'd get a weaned rat, and then she'd get a chick and then a weaned rat, which was so much better for her than a small rat every 2 days. So, she's bounced back. She's a healthy girl now. And then Delilah also ate a chick once, just because I had one left over, and I was like, let's see if she eats it, and she did. I think they're great. The retics eat a lot of chicks, and Maya eats a lot of chicks. Okay, let's see. So I think nutritionally, like if you were feeding a ball python chicks as their main diet, that would not be the best thing for them. And in my opinion, right now, it's not. It doesn't make sense to start giving them chicks, because of the possibility that a snake could decide that they only like chicks and they're not going to eat rodents anymore. I don't want to risk that, because that's something that ball pythons tend to do sometimes. I don't have to worry about that with a black-headed python. I don't have to worry about that with a reticulated python. But ball pythons, because they tend to be picky with food, I don't want to risk, just by giving them a chick occasionally for enrichment. I don't want to take that risk that they go, oh, I like these better than mice or better than rats. And so that's all I'm going to ever take again. Okay. Now we're on snake behavior questions. Stacy asks, are there studies on snake intelligence like there are for dogs and cats? Not extensively. There are studies on the reptile brain that are new, that talk about how reptiles can learn and think and process and even possibly have certain emotions. Their brain is just structured different than a mammal's. So we assumed, because they don't have the parts of the brain that humans have and that mammals have to be able to do those things, we just assumed that they couldn't do those things. But we know now through science and through just the fact that we can train our snakes, right? Like I've trained a lot of my snakes, that they are very intelligent. Definitely are smart. I have my reticulated pythons are all target trained. My black-headed python is target trained. This snake was target trained. He easily picked up on target training. I just haven't done it with him in well over a year, because I don't need to. I use target training as a food cue, and my ball pythons don't really need food cues. I want the retics and Handsome Dan too, my boa. The snakes that I have that are extremely food motivated, I want them to know that they're only getting fed when they see their target. And so I do target training with them. But the ball pythons, even though I trained a few of them to do it and it was cool to do, I just don't use it with them. So yeah, snakes are very intelligent. There have been some limited studies done. And if anybody knows of any that have come out that I don't know about, pop them in the chat. Andy asks, how do you know when your snake's going to poop? Yeah, it's real easy. You look at their tail, and here's just a normal tail right here. And the Captain Ferrell's cloaca is right about here. If he was real fat in this area above the cloaca, snakes are just a big poop tube, right? I mean, they don't go very often, but when they do, they're just eating food, and if they eat once a week, if it's an adult, let's say, and they eat once a week, they're going to have about 4 or 5 meals, maybe 6. And then all of a sudden their tail's going to look real fat. That's what we call sausage butt. And you don't want to handle your snake then. You want to let them just do their thing. Same with babies. Babies poop more often, you know, but that's how you know. You look for that sausage butt. Brittany asks if ball pythons are territorial. She told a story where she had a snake. She had two snakes that they were handling, and one made a puffing noise. She wasn't sure if it was puffing at the other snake or not. They are territorial in breeding. So this is a breeding male, and I don't allow him out roaming around when there are other breeding sexually mature males in the room. So only one male out at a time, because they will potentially battle over a possible female. And they're not battling to the death, but it's a stressful thing, and they don't need to do it. But in general, no, I free roam a lot of all my non-sexually mature babies get to free roam together. Like I'll put 12 of them in a playpen together, or on the counter here or whatever, and they can roam around. Adult females can roam around together, no problem. So the territorial thing is just, and it's not even over territory, it's over females. It's just the sexually mature males. So good question though. All right, Taylor, I bet you're in the chat right now, Taylor. Have you noticed with any of your snakes that their personality changes when they hit the 1,000-gram milestone? My pied, she's had since he was under 100 grams, never struck or hissed. Now he is always in food mode when I go into his enclosure. And strikes at her almost every time. Yes, I don't know that I've noticed it at specifically the 1,000-gram mark, but snakes, as they grow, will change their behavior. They'll start doing things that they've never done before, and all of a sudden they have a new pattern of behavior. It's really common. And so definitely from juvenile to adult, they'll change, the way they behave. Bear, for example, was a really almost social snake, where he was always at the front of his enclosure, always came out onto my hand, wanted to cruise around. And then when he became an adult, it was probably around 1,000 grams, something like that. He became super reclusive, and he's in his hide most of the time now. He's just happier in his hide, and he likes being shy. The thing about this felt hat is it's not going to hold the weight of a snake like this. Sorry, buddy. You can't do that. Or he probably could. He just would fall. I don't want him to fall. Where am I at? Have I missed any super chats, by the way, you guys? I haven't been looking. I don't think I have. But somebody will text me, right? Yeah, okay. I think we're good. Okay. All right, Siri has 2 questions. So far, I've watched 2 different YouTube videos saying the ball python's enclosures should be 3 to 4 feet high and 3 to 4 feet all around. I'm so confused. Yeah, I wouldn't say 3 to 4 feet high. That's not necessary. 3 to 4 feet all around. That would be really small if it was 3 to 4 feet all the way around. So 4 by 2 by 2 is what most people say for a ball python, and that's good. If you can go bigger, go bigger. Some ball pythons will use that room, some won't. I would say most of them will use whatever room you give them, but some won't. Some will just sit in a hide the whole time. But 4 by 2 by 2 for a adult ball python, get a PVC enclosure like that, and you'll be all set. I would do that. 2 feet high is great though. They're kind of clumsy. They will climb things, but they fall a lot. And so you don't want them falling from a 4-foot height necessarily, And then the other question is, I'm seeing 2 types of humid hide. Is it even necessary to buy? No, don't buy a humid hide. get a Tupperware. You know, if you're even going to use a humid hide, just get a Tupperware container, cut a hole in it, put some sphagnum moss in there. But I find that it's not really necessary. If your humidity is kept up in the enclosure and you're giving your snake fresh water, they're going to be hydrated enough to have a good shed. I use a humid hide usually with my reticulated pythons, and if it looks like I have a python, have a bad, throw a humid hide in there for them, but I almost never do. So it's not even necessary usually. Just make sure they have, make sure their humidity is between 60 and 80%. Once they're going into shed, you could even bump it up to 90, they'll do just fine. Okay. I can't wait to read the chat tomorrow because it's going crazy and I'm not reading any of it right now. So I always rewatch the live stream the next day so that I can go through the chat and see what people say. But unfortunately I can't answer the questions. There's so many questions in the chat that I want to be able to answer, but I can't answer a question that's been chatted once the live stream's over. There's always great questions in there though. But the good thing is there's also some really experienced keepers like Will right here. I see in the chat. Will's very experienced and can answer a lot of those questions. There's a ton of experienced keepers though in this chat. So if you're trying to ask me a question, ask it and then watch the chat. If you really want me to answer, then just super chat it. But there's a ton of people here that can respond to your questions. Where are we? Here we go. We're on Matthew's question. Would you mind commenting on ambient room temperature? I live in Massachusetts, and we typically don't keep the house above 72 in the winter. Temperature under the warm hide is 90, but the rest of the tub is essentially room temperature. He's asking if he needs another heat mat to bring it up to 80. Yeah, I would in that case. I don't mind. For my snakes, I really don't want their cold side getting under 76, but it's probably not, probably all the way down to 74 is fine, but I don't like that. I keep the ambient room temperature here it gets down to 70, 74, 75, but in the enclosure, it's always warmer. It's always closer to 80. So I would say that if off the heat mat that you have gets down to 72, I'd get another heat mat in there, or get an overhead that heats things up to closer to 80. Because I think 72 is too cold for them. Okay, Ian asks about nighttime temperature drop. Thoughts, and what do you do? I do nothing. Ball pythons don't need a temp drop. They don't really have a temp drop in the wild, so they don't need it. Even for breeding, they don't need a temp drop. There are some breeders who do it, but I don't think it's necessary. They breed just fine without it. So there are other species of snake that benefit from temperature drops at night, and the high quality reptile specific thermostats will have that available to program in, but I don't use it. Their temps all stay exactly the same 24 hours. Hog Strictors, thanks for the super chat. Hey, Bob, I'm stoked because I caught 2 of your live streams in a row. Oh, nice. Welcome. I'm glad you did. Looking forward to your boa video. Cheers. Oh, that's great. You know what? On that, let's swap snakes. Let's get the boa. Let's get Handsome Dan out here. I bet he'd be happy to come out. Hang on. Give me a moment. Chat amongst yourselves as you do. While I just handle stuff. Echo is still. So a lot of times at night, Echo will start eventually moving, but She's still asleep in that. Look at this. There you go. Check out Echo for a minute while I get Handsome Dan. Okay, I'm back, and there's your evidence that I'm back. Hi. Here's Handsome Dan. Showing off why he's called that. He's going to get fed tonight. He's happy about that. Hey, can you turn towards the camera? There you go. I love this guy. He's so cool. Another difference, we were talking about the differences between boas and pythons in general, or boa, you know, a boa and a ball python. I would say that Handsome Dan is stronger than a ball python of this size. They're quite a bit stronger. So that's a thing. You know, if you get a boa, I mean, even if you get a dwarf boa, you know, they'll get the size of a female ball python, which could be pretty big and stronger than a large female ball python. So that's something to consider, you know. Boas are just very strong animals. There you go, buddy. Let's just get on my hand there. Now you can just be, he would always rather not be held. He'd rather be somewhere else. And it's kind of because he knows that he can pretty much go where he wants. You know, like when I bring him out of the enclosure, I put him somewhere usually. So I think when I just bring him out and hold him, he's kind of looking for where I'm going to put him because he'd like to be placed somewhere. And actually, I'd love to put him. I'm not going to put him over there because Jenny Craig is over there, but that would be a great spot for him if I didn't have a different species there. Jennifer, thanks for the super chat. Handsome Dan is a year and a half, I think. Let's find out because I'm curious. Oh, Erica's texting me. Did I miss a super chat? No, I got that one. I got that one, Erica. From Hog Strictors, we talked. Okay. You want to go up there, buddy? I bet you could fit on my hat. Oh, how old is Handsome Dan? Forgot I was doing a thing here. Let's go to my Husbandry Pro app. What do you guys use? Do you guys use Husbandry Pro or do you use something else? I like having an app because it's it keeps things squared away for me. But if I was just writing it down on a card, it sometimes would. I sometimes feel like it would be faster than an app. But the thing is, I can get every detail from an app, you know. So it is better. Date of birth 6/22. So he is not quite a year and a half, almost. Okay. All right, buddy. Can you be on here without falling? See, he's hanging on real tight to my hand, which might be safer for him to do. Let's see. I'm going to keep a hand on him because I think he could easily fall off this felt hat. All right, where are we at here? Lost to Paris. That's the only way I can think to pronounce that, but I bet I'm wrong. Lost to Paris asks, is putting a young ball python in a 4x2x2 going to be too scary a space for them? You know, it's hard to say. I get this question a lot because people want to start off in their, they don't want to spend the money. Obviously, I wouldn't want to either to keep upgrading enclosures that you have to buy. So I always tell people this, that for most ball pythons, I'm keeping my head like this so that he doesn't fall off as he gets squared away with wherever he wants to be. With most ball python babies, I find that they do fine in a large enclosure that has lots of clutter and has plenty of hides. The only thing that I say is if they're a very small snake and your enclosure is really big, you want to have multiple waters for them so that you can make sure that they can find their water. And they do fine in that. But if they don't, like if you can't get them to eat for a while, you'll want to just be ready to go to the hardware store and just get a little tub and a heat mat and put them in there for the time being until they can get used to things. And then you could later on try them on, try them with the bigger enclosure. Telecaster, thanks for this awesome super chat. Oh my gosh. Bob, thanks so much for these wonderful snakes. Goose refused to wrap pup tonight. I'm thinking of waiting a couple of days and then trying again. All right. You know what? I love the name that you chose for that little guy. This is Wayne the Distracted, by the way, is Telecaster. I'm realizing that right now. Waiting a couple of days and then trying again. Gwen has never refused. She'll break through the glass if Mickey Mouse is on TV. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to remember. I don't think Goose had ever refused a meal for me. I don't know. I can't remember, but you'll know. You've got the card that has the entire feeding history of that snake, so you can see if he's ever refused. But I don't think he has. But they need some time to get used to their enclosure, and yeah, I would wait. I'd wait 3 days maybe and offer again. Do that hair dryer trick. Blow a scent in there and see if he'll come out looking for it. I believe he ate a large meal before he went to you, though, so he's probably fine for a while. Jason, thanks for the super chat. Welcome to Ride to Riches. Did you ever get to meet Miss Kipling? I don't know who Mrs. Kipling is. Was that somebody on the show? So Jason is referring to an episode of Jessie, the show Jessie from the Disney Channel that I was on. And I don't know who Mrs. Kipling is. So I probably didn't meet her. Otherwise, I bet I would remember. That was a fun show to do, though. And I played a cab driver who was also a game show host on that show. And they changed the script considerably, like changed everything after every day of rehearsal. We rehearse for a week and we shoot. We rehearse for 4 days and shoot on day 5, basically, or maybe 5 days and shoot on day 6. I don't remember. But I do remember that they changed the entire script on me every single day. And so the day of shooting was a brand new script. And fortunately, all my lines were from inside a cab. So I can just have the script in my lap and basically read from it. It was great. It was a fun show. There's another super chat. Heartland Reptiles. Hi there. Thanks for that super chat. Thanks for being a positive voice for the dwarf and super dwarf retakes. Oh, thanks. I'm up to 10 now. Oh my gosh. Including some pures plus 17 hatchlings left from my first ever clutch. Oh my gosh. Congratulations. That's awesome. What localities do you have? I'll try to see it in here. If I don't see it right now, I'll definitely see it tomorrow. But tell me what localities you're working with. And what was your what do you have in your first ever clutch? It's a lot of babies, right? Super dwarfs. I mean, retics in general have tons of babies, but even the smaller ones have lots of babies compared to our 6 or 8 that ball pythons have, you know. Congrats on that. That's really cool. Okay. Thanks, Hayden. I just saw that one. Thanks for the congrats. Glad you got to tune in. That's awesome. Thanks so much. 50 is came faster than, you know why I hit 50,000. It's really because of snake discovery. That going on to snake discovery just put me in front of way more people than I had been in front of with green room pythons, and it got people to the channel. So I really appreciate them for that. Ed and Emily are really great people, and it's cool that they do this build off, because it helps, it helps all the companies, but it also helps all these channels that are much smaller than theirs to introduce them to a bigger audience. So that's cool. Jennifer, I think the subscriber count before the build off was it was probably 35,000, maybe 40, 35 or 40. I bet the build off probably gained me 10 to 15,000 subscribers, I would think, which is really significant. Dakota, thanks for the super chat. Would you suggest a male ball python for a first pet snake? I've been enjoying your videos. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you've been liking them. Not necessarily. It doesn't really matter if it's a pet. They say that males are smaller than females, and that might be true, but it's more about how much you feed them. And really, when we're breeding them, my males are smaller than my females because I feed my females more. They need more fat on them for breeding season. But it really just depends on what you feed them. But personality wise, anything else, you're never going to know whether you have a male or female. There's really no difference, except possibly a little bit of size in ball pythons. Hey, handsome Dan, I need you to stay on my hat, buddy. You can't go to the mic. I'm sure you have a lot to say, but still. Okay, where are we at? Give me just a moment. We're on the next page. We're on to our final page, you guys. Hey, dude, careful. Careful up there. I have some hats that are really great for snakes and others that are a little sketchy. And this one is a little sketchy because it's felt, and that is pretty slippery. So, let's see. Okay. Andy says, we have one ball python and I'd like to get another. Asking, let's see, we keep the little guy we have in the living room, and I plan to have the new one in the bedroom, probably 20 feet and a door apart. Is that enough of a quarantine? Sure. I mean, I think quarantine should be as far away as is comfortable for you to do, but certainly a room away is just fine. Quarantine is more about, you don't want to have the enclosures right next to one another, but it's more about not contaminating the other one with the same tools. You're using tools with your quarantine animal that are specific to them. Those tools stay with that animal. You're washing your hands every time you leave the quarantine room and go, work with another animal. That's the important thing. But yes, certainly a room away, closed door away. Really, that has to do with mites. Can mites, if that quarantine snake has mites, are those mites going to travel out of that room under the door into another room to the snake. Probably not. Your other snakes will get mites because, you know, if you're not careful about washing your hands and you know, you potentially pick up eggs on your hands and transfer them that way or something. Hey, dude, what do you think of the new hat? Are you having a good explore around, checking it all out? It's a Stetson. Do you even understand what a great company that is to have a hat from? It's my first Stetson, you guys. I said this in the beginning of the thing, but it's not a high dollar Stetson by any means, but it is. I mean, I can tell it's high quality. It's probably even an import. I doubt they even make it in their American shop, but maybe they do. I don't know, but it's high quality for being a wool felt hat. It's a good one. Erica, thanks for the super chat. It's good to see you recently. Hi, Bob. I meant to put this on Patreon and forgot. What is your favorite acting gig you've ever done? Oh, that's a good question. And I know exactly what it is. I always have fun on set, but you know, I did one movie called Dolphin Island, and it's my favorite acting gig because I got to go to the Bahamas for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I can't remember how long it was, but it was a good amount of time. And the great thing about that acting gig is when I got there, I was only supposed to be there for like a week. And hey, man, can you? I was only supposed to be there for a week, but they kept changing the shoot schedule. A lot of it had to do with rain that was happening in the Bahamas. And so they kept changing the shoot schedule. And I ended up working every other day and was off every other day. So on my days off, I'd go snorkeling, I'd go fishing. Hey, man, you know what? We're gonna not do the hat thing for right now. How about this, huh? Just hang out with me. Got to swim with dolphins. That was really cool. I made good friends with a dolphin whose name is Kata. And I just had a great time. And birds, there was trained birds there, and it was just fun to hang out in the Bahamas for a while. Very silly that was the thing that I was paid to do. You know, it was basically a vacation that I have great memories of, and they paid me for it. I wish that I got more acting gigs than I do, but they're few and far between. Although I did just I went to a screening of a movie that I was in that I shot right before the SAG strike. So I shot it a few months ago, and it stars Beau Bridges. It's called Camera, and it's a great little movie. I was really happy with it. I usually don't like the movies that I'm in, but this one actually was really good. Joy, Kata is kind of named after that dolphin because I liked that name for the dolphin anyway, but that is it is one of my favorite names. So the quick story of that dolphin is that there was a day where we were shooting on this dolphin sanctuary where they had all these dolphins that had been caught like in the 1970s and you know, trained and whatever to be in shows, and now they can't really be released back into the wild. In fact, they do bring them out into the wild. You know, they bring them out with the boat so they can play, and they end up playing with other wild dolphins. And then when the boat goes back to the sanctuary, all the dolphins just follow them back and go back to their thing. So it's unfortunate that they were caught in the 70s, but that's what they were doing back then. Anyway, there was one day where no shooting was happening. And so the sanctuary said, all right, any cast and crew that wants to come and have a dolphin experience, you can come and do it. So I did it. And it was their standard thing. They assign you a dolphin, and they basically give them a command that they're to swim with you the whole time. And that dolphin stays right by your side. You go underwater and you can hear their echolocation to make sure that they're staying right next to you. It's like a highly trained Belgian Malinois or German Shepherd, you know, that stays right next to you. It was amazing. And I had a great time with Kata. And then the next day was a scene where I played the bad guy in this movie, and I had to fall. I was splashed into the water by this dolphin, and then I have to yell at it and splash it and be like, "This is why people eat dolphins," and just be this mean guy. Well, they were using a different dolphin every day to be sort of the hero dolphin because they all look the same. It didn't matter. And this day they used Kata, who I had just been best friends with the day before, and now I've got to yell at her and be mean to her. So after we were done shooting this scene, I told the director, I was like, "Man, I feel really bad because I love this dolphin, and I felt really bad for yelling at her." And as I was saying that, the trainer gave her a command to come and give me a kiss on the cheek. And if you watch that movie, you'll see the credits roll, and there's a bunch of behind the scenes shots of that movie, and that made it to the movie. So, I mean, made it to in the behind the scenes reel. So you can see Kata coming up and kissing me on the cheek. And I'm so glad that was immortalized because it was such a great moment. Erica, thanks for the other super chat, and thanks for reminding people to hit like. That's really nice. I appreciate that. And I appreciate everybody watching. That's amazing that we're bumping up on like 200 people watching this. I don't think we've ever had 200 people live watching, but we're getting there. It was not long ago when we were like, "Oh my gosh, there's going to be 100 people. We're close to 100." It wasn't that many live streams ago. And so thanks for being here for these live streams. We're almost done with the questions, you guys. We have like two left. We got Wayne the Distracted, who is Telecaster in the chat right now. But Wayne says, "Hi, Bob. Couple of quick non-snake related questions." Oh, who were your comedic influences growing up? I grew up watching the Chris Farley, Dana Carvey, Chris Rock, David Spade cast of Saturday Night Live. Big influences. But then when I was younger, when I was little, I was watching Tim Conway, like the Carol Burnett Show. I feel like that was before my time, but it wasn't really because it was still on when I was a little kid. So those guys, like I was a huge Tim Conway fan when I was really little. He was so funny. And then what are two of your favorite movies and or TV shows of all time? Oh, that's a great question. I always, for my favorite movie, it's hard because there's so many different, there's so many movies. I can pick a movie that affected me when I was a little kid. The Goonies, Gremlins, Ghostbusters, huge effect on me when I was a little kid. But Princess Bride, I usually list as my favorite movie because it's so good. TV shows, there's a lot of recent TV shows that are amazing. There are some comedies that have come out recently that are so good. Arrested Development, Schitt's Creek. I've just been binging Barry, which is really good. I wouldn't say it's one of the best of all time, but I love Bill Hader, and that show is fantastic. I'm almost done with it. I'm sad. Okay. And I don't know if I'm on season 4. I don't know if it ends. I don't know if there's more seasons coming out, but Barry's a great show. It's so weird and funny. Okay. It's on HBO if you guys are wondering. Let's see. Last thing Wayne says is, "Thanks again for the great little ball pythons. They are a joy." That's great. I'm glad that you are enjoying them. I'm glad you have those snakes. Tara said, Tara's in the chat, I think, right now. I think I saw Tara. Since I can't think of anything in the moment, what's your absolute favorite meal in the whole wide world, and why? Why is a tough question for meals. Because I'm going to say because I like it. But, I'm a huge fan of Indian food. And my go-to Indian dish is, well, I have several. It depends on what I'm in the mood for. But I really like palak paneer, chicken tikka masala, tandoori chicken, all that stuff. I could eat that all day, every day. That was a good final question for the Patreon questions. Okay. So that's that. I'm gonna put Handsome Dan back in his tub. He's going to eat a meal once we're done with this live stream. So I'd like him to settle. I'd like him to settle and relax somewhere. So I'll be right back. Any recommendations of who else I should bring out? Put them in the chat. You know what? I'm just going to bring somebody out. I'll look at those recommendations, but I have an idea. I'm just going to bring out Anya because Anya was in Amy's list of snakes that I don't often show. And just so pretty. She's about the size of Jenny Craig. She might be a little bit bigger. Yeah, let me get rid of this. Hi, babe. She's also going to get fed tonight. Notice that I'm handling snakes that are going to be fed tonight before they're going to be fed. In general, I don't have a problem with that. I know that you see the rule all the time that says don't handle your snake the day that it's going to be fed. I think that's a great rule for a nervous baby ball python that doesn't know its keeper or surroundings very well. But with established snakes, I have no problem handling them and then feeding them, because if I offered Anya a meal right now from my hand, she would take it. No problem. So let's put her. My idea was to, let me get rid of this camera real quick. With Echo still exactly where she is or where she's been. I have nothing exciting on that camera to show you because Echo's just sleeping in her log. But this camera right here. Okay. Let's just put Anya right there and see what she does. I bet she goes in there, checks it out, and comes right back out. That's my guess. While you're watching Anya, I'm going to go through the chat and see if I've missed any super chats. I don't think I have missed any. But I'll add to Dakota's. Dakota was asking if I would suggest a male ball python as a first pet snake. I was saying that it doesn't really matter if you get a male or female, but I will say that a ball python is a great first pet snake. You know, I've said in other videos before that, you know, a ball python is an exotic animal. And anytime you're keeping an exotic animal, I think that you have to do so much research on them that you feel like you're an expert in the animal before you get them. And as long as you do that, most snakes are good first snakes. I would not include venomous in that category, but as long as you do the research, pretty much most snakes are going to be good. But ball pythons are great because they're so easy going and they don't tend to bite, you know. So yes, male or female ball python, great first snake. Okay, so we'll just see what she does. Oh, there's Tara. She is in the chat. Look at all those likes. Hooray. Oh, good. Oh, yeah, the likes went up. That's great. Thanks, you guys, for doing that. I appreciate it. Tara, thanks for that super chat. For those who missed it, I'm happy to say that I'm drinking Lagavulin 16. I highly recommend it to people that enjoy a good Islay Scotch. I don't know that I need to hear that sound of the cork again, but so good. It's a good 50K celebration Scotch to have. Joy, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate that. Any methods for lessening head shyness? Want to make it tolerant, but want to make them tolerant, but don't want to stress them out. I might be overthinking it though. No, there is a technique. I'll show you right now. I'm going to use Lionel's snake. I don't think Lionel's in the chat right now, but this is the only baby ball python I have left. And she's going to Lionel next week. Hi there, young lady. Look at this pretty girl. So here, let's go big on that. And then, so what I do, she's in her toilet paper roll here. I'll just leave her in there. But what I like to do when I bring them out, I normally won't start this right now. I'll let them cruise around and sort of get their bearings a little bit, but I just want to show you. So I don't want to pester them by just touching their head, but once they know it's me and they're comfortable with who's handling them, what I'll do is come down their neck like this a little bit. Hang on. Here we go. Now we're in a good spot. Come down their neck a little bit so they can feel me coming down their neck. And then I get to their head and they're okay with it because they know that it was, it started on their body and it didn't cause a problem. Sometimes they do flinch once you get to their head, but usually they don't. Now, if I come at her from here and touch her head, she's not going to like that. But coming down the back is the way to do it. So basically that just gets her used to what that feels like to be touched on the head. I'm literally petting her head right there. And it might be slightly annoying. So she kind of moves away, but she doesn't jolt like if I come from the front. She'll well, you can't see it. If I come from the front, she's gonna, well, now she knows what it is and she's used to it, so she doesn't do it. But that's the idea. Just do this kind of stuff. Get her used to what that feels like to touch her head. I'm just fully petting her head right now. I wish the camera could see this whole thing. So that's it. It's pretty easy. Pretty easy. Just using care, just kind of respecting what their boundaries are, what's going to make them flinch and what maybe won't make them flinch. You want to do stuff to where they feel what it feels like to be touched on the head, but it doesn't make them nervous. And then that also doesn't mean that they're never going to be head shy, because they're head shy for a reason. They're extremely vulnerable at their head when they're being attacked. So you don't necessarily want them to be not ever head shy. It's just you want them to be used to you. And I like to not have my snakes be super head shy, because if a vet ever needs to work with them, or if I ever need to open their mouth to look in there or something, I want to be able to do that without causing them a ton of stress. Telecaster, Wayne, thanks for the super chat. Bob, my wife, Nicole, has a birthday coming up in a few days. Could you wish her a happy birthday? Yes. Happy birthday, Nicole. I hope you have a lovely day on the day of your birth. And furthermore, I just really appreciate that she is getting over her phobia of snakes so I can live my best life. That's fantastic. That's great that you are allowing your husband to have snakes, even though you're afraid, and you're getting over that fear. That's really good. I can say Amy's husband, Brady, is doing a great job of that as well. Brady has overcome his fear, and he almost, I think, even likes one of Amy's snakes, which is really cool. By the way, I'm very excited. I think Amy's gone right now, but I'm heading to Utah tomorrow. I decided today that I'm going to do that. I was invited for Thanksgiving, and I told Amy, no, I'm not taking a road trip to Utah. That would be ridiculous to do. But today I was thinking, no, I feel like I do need to do a road trip. So I'm going over there because my mom taught Amy how to make a turkey. They've been texting apparently. So Amy's going to make a turkey the way my mom does it. And Brady has the skee ball machine going. And so we're going to play skee ball. It's going to be great. John, thanks for these super chats are coming in. Thanks, John, for the super chat. Congratulations on 50K. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't have a question tonight, just enjoying watching the channel grow. Oh, John, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's really nice. Azara, thanks for the super chat. Hey, Bob, my friend just got a ball python and we're having a tough time switching him to frozen thawed from live. Any advice? I've done what I can since my dude switched just fine. Yeah, so I'm going to preface this by telling people that if you plan to switch a ball python from live to frozen thawed, don't worry about these tricks until you just try it first. So it sounds like Azara has tried it and it didn't work. But what I'm telling everybody else is usually it does work. I would say over 50% of the time, the snake will just take it. You don't have to worry about tricks. But the way to do it, and Azara, you might already know this because I say it a lot, but my best advice for doing this is to, make sure that rodent is, first of all, make sure that the rodent is between 110 and 120 degrees. That's way hotter than a live rodent would be, but it oftentimes will trigger their food response. So that's a thing. Warm it up in the warm water or however you do it. Make sure the head is that hot. Hit it with a hairdryer right outside the enclosure. So you're blowing the scent into the enclosure. You want the snake to come out of their hide looking for food. And so that, when they come out looking for the food, they're in food mode and they should strike at any movement / heat signature, whatever, because they're just in food mode. That's the best way to do it. Now, that doesn't always work for every ball python. Sometimes it takes them a little while. What I would do is, if they don't take it, you offer the next week. If they don't take it, offer a third week. And then if they don't take it the next day, I would just get a live and let them eat the live and then start that process over again. And hopefully, eventually they take it. You might have to figure out what little marionette puppet dance the snake wants. You do one that's a little bit too much and they get scared and they're not going to eat. And you don't do enough and they're not as interested. And so you got to figure out what that, little dance might be. But for a lot of snakes, I'm going to feed, I think I'm feeding about 20 snakes tonight. And almost all of them I'm just going to put it in front of them and they're going to take it. So that's just what most snakes do. So best of luck with that one. Oh, that's your friend's ball python. So you're going to relay the message to your friend. I wish your friend the best of luck in that. It's tricky sometimes with ball pythons. Okay. Let me see if I missed anything that I was supposed to do in this live stream, and then I'll answer some questions in the chat. So here's what's happened. I didn't give you an update. We still have Jenny Craig in the hide all the way to the right. We have Anya on the hide right next door to her. They're just going to hang out. Whoops, what did I do here? I screwed everything up. Okay. So that's the update there. Let me see if there's another snake that I can get. All right, now I'll take your suggestions. Is there a snake that anybody wants to see? Got to wait for that 30-second lag or so. You know who I want to show, though? Hang on. Echo still is not doing anything. I set up that camera because I thought once evening hits, Echo's going to start moving around. She's not. I want to show Max because he's so handsome. Look at this boy. I tell you what, fire, when you add fire, this little subtle gene of fire, it just adds brightness like crazy to a snake. Max is banana, orange dream, Enchi, fire, het pied. And he's so cool. Azara, thanks for this other super chat. Okay, thank you, and congrats on 50K. So proud to be a part of this amazing community. Oh, that's so nice. I agree. The community is amazing. And you guys, for those who don't know, you can access the community of Green Room Pythons through Discord, through Patreon and Discord. So Discord is available to everyone. There's a link in the description for an invite link. You can join and be on there and chat with a large group. There's probably, I think we're at like 800 Discord members, which is pretty good size. And then Patreon, if you're on Patreon and in Discord, there are hidden Patreon channels. You can jump in and just talk to those people on Patreon, and lots of friendships are made. It's a super positive Discord, really is amazing, I think, in the reptile community to have it be extremely positive. And Patreon especially, there's a lot of Patreon members, and they're just so nice and helpful to one another. It's great. So I am a big fan of the community for sure. Ryan, thanks for this super chat. Just sending this to tell you I got my baby ball python, who's extremely shy, to eating using a lot of your advice. Thanks, Bob. Oh, that's so cool. Good. Congrats. I'm glad. Those shy snakes sometimes are not great eaters. It's the feisty ones that usually eat really well, but the shy ones, it's tough sometimes. So I'm glad that it worked for you. All right. Max is getting a meal tonight, so I'm putting him back. And then, would you guys like to see, let's see. I don't know if have I officially introduced Kodiak? I mean, you've seen him before. He's my clown pied holdback. I love that I can reach snakes without getting off my stool. I don't know if I've officially announced what his name is. Maybe I have. I don't remember. I named him a while back. Anyway, this is Kodiak because he's Bear's son. And I just call him Cody. But he's a super handsome boy and very well socialized. Like, I didn't have to do much work with him at all to get him to be just happy to come out. He crawls out onto my hand a lot. Seems to be totally happy with just hanging out. And look at how pretty clown pieds. You can't go wrong with clown pied. They're just so cool. And I got lucky with the personality. I wanted to keep a male, and I was just going to keep a male. Sometimes you get lucky. Jennifer, thanks for the super chat and great requests, because again, I can do both of those without getting up from my stool, which is super convenient. Here's little B. I've moved B back to a hatchling rack just to see if she'll eat on her own. This is a snake. For those of you who don't know, here's a snake who is well over a year old. She might be a year and a half, but she's only had, the biggest meal she's ever had is a hopper mouse, because she gets assist fed. And she's a sweet little girl, but she's got a little deformity with her mouth, and it makes her, she tries to strike. Last week she tried to strike. I'm going to put her back because I'm going to try to feed her tonight. And she is one that I don't want to handle before. So what she does is she strikes with an open mouth and then pulls back with an open mouth. Super annoying. She also will, without striking, she'll just wrap. And when she does that, I leave her with the rodent, hoping that one day she'll eat it. And she hasn't so far, so she gets assist fed. This is right now, we're in a month where I'm switching months, where 1 month I'll assist feed her every meal that she refuses. I just assist feed her. And then the next month I'll just offer. And if she doesn't eat, I throw it away. So we're in one of those months. So we'll see. I think she has the ability to eat. I mean, I know she has the ability to eat, because when I put it in her mouth, she's able to eat and swallow it. No problem. Passes it. No problem. It's just her figuring out how to do it. And I think it just might just take some growth, some size, and figuring it out on her part. But it is frustrating. Wrecked Raccoon is asking how I assist feed. The most important thing that I'll say here is that I'll describe basically how I do it. But the only time you should be assist feeding a snake is if you hatched the snake yourself and it's never eaten a meal on its own. So if you just have a snake that's not eating for a couple of weeks, don't assist feed it. And the reason is that assist feeding is a traumatic experience for the snake. And a lot of times you will do a lot more damage assist feeding by making them not want to eat at all. Than you would if you just wait for them to eat on their own. So if the snake has ever eaten on their own, they don't need to be assist fed. If your snake gets sick and you take them to the vet and the vet says this snake is very ill, it needs to be assist fed, that's a different story. But if it's just a case that the snake is not eating, don't ever assist feed. I'm assuming most of you are getting your snakes from a breeder. That snake's already been established. It's already eaten on its own. It knows how to eat. So B is a situation where she's got a little mouth deformity. It makes it hard for her to eat. She's got to figure it out on her own. She's never eaten a meal on her own. She's always been assist fed. And the way I do it is I take a little rodent and, frozen thawed rodent. I make sure it's wet. I open her mouth with the nose of the rodent and put it in her mouth for her. And then I let her do the rest of the work. So that's how that goes. Let's see what Molly Malone's up to. I did a video once on about assist feeding, and I said that. I told people don't assist feed if the snake has eaten on their own ever. I still got comments that was like, my snake hadn't eaten in 2 weeks, so I assist fed it. Thanks so much for your video. And I'm like, no, don't do that. They can go a long time without eating. It's totally fine. Not necessary to assist all the time. Here's Molly Malone. Here's Molly. She's doing well with eating. She was one who would go a month or two without food, but now she's eating just fine, getting ready to be a breeding mama. I'm guessing that she'll be up to weight sometime late December or January. And if she is, if her body condition looks good, I mean, she's probably up to weight, but I'd like her to be a little fatter. Then I'll be breeding her with Captain Ferrell. This is Molly is Ultramal. She's het for pied. And Captain Ferrell is, let's see, she's het for pied and het for hypo. Or maybe she's only, maybe she's like 66% het hypo. I don't remember. Anyway, Captain Ferrell is a pied and he's 66% het ultramal and he's 100% het hypo. So we've got some question marks on these two snakes, and so I'm excited to breed them so we can find out. Really, what I want is ultramal pieds. I don't care about the hypo so much, but I want some of those ultramal pieds. I love ultramal, and the reason is that it doesn't fade. Like this is an adult snake. I mean, she'll get a lot bigger than this, but basically an adult snake, and she is as bright and shiny as she was when she was 100 grams. Beautiful girl, this one. I like her a lot. Erica, thanks for the super chat. Since bee is striking, have you tried live lately? Yeah, I have. I had to assist feed a baby with shark mouth for a month, then randomly offered live. He took it, then a frozen thaw the next week. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I wish she would take a live. I do try a live occasionally, and I tried You know, it's probably been 2 months since I last tried a live, but she does the same thing. She strikes, and the same with a live as she. I mean, at least she's striking, right? Like she has the drive. She kind of knows what to do. She also, when she smells rodents in the room, she comes to the front of her tub looking for it. Like, she knows what she's supposed to do. She just doesn't follow through with it. So I put Molly back because she was tense and not. It didn't feel like she wanted to be out. So I'll bring probably another snake out. Elizabeth, thanks for the super chat. Hang on, hold on one second. Was that? Okay. All right. Elizabeth, thanks. Popping in from work to say, hit the like button, everyone. Oh, that's nice. Thanks for that. I'm going to have to watch tomorrow. All right. Thanks, Elizabeth. And future Elizabeth, watching tomorrow. I'm glad you're getting to watch it, at least. Thanks for popping in and super chatting. I appreciate that. Gary's asking, what is shark mouth? That somebody else probably asked that, because you've probably dealt with that, Gary. Shark mouth, for those who aren't aware, this is something that breeders come across occasionally. I've never had a ball python with it, but sometimes there's certain gene combos that produce it, and it's where the top of the mouth is longer than the bottom of the mouth, so you get this sort of look. The snake, it's unfortunate, and some snakes do just fine with it, and some don't. It depends on how bad it is, you know. But I've seen people that have, like, I've seen situations where somebody has bought a snake where they've seen pictures on Morph Market, and the pictures are shot in a really nice way where you can't tell that the snake has shark mouth, and then they get it and it has that, which is awful. Like, don't do that. Don't sell your shark mouth snakes and try to hide that fact from people. That's not cool. Overbite, yes. Overbite is the word for it. I could have described that so much quicker by saying the word overbite, but it was not in my brain. So I described it, I guess. Yeah, Jennifer's saying incubation issues can cause it too. That is true. Yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff that can go wrong with when you're breeding ball python, or when you're breeding animals, period. Not just snakes. So is there any other, we're going to probably end this pretty soon. Is there any other snakes that anybody wants to see before? Logan is asking, is Morph Market good? Yes. Yes, but Morph Market is just a platform for breeders to sell their snakes, breeder to buyer. So Morph Market is good, but you've got to do that. Just because Morph Market is good doesn't necessarily mean that the breeder you're buying from is a good breeder. So you've got to do your research. Morph Market is great in giving that platform for people, but you've got to do your research on the breeder. Make sure that they have good reviews. Again, another word that left my brain. Good reviews, and you can do some Googling of them, and just get comfortable with who you're buying from first. How's the littlest retic? That's a little boy that I could bring out. I'm not going to be able to bring him out for much longer because he is reserved, and I'm only going to have him for another month or so. But I love that little snake. He's great. But somebody has bought him. My season of selling snakes is done at this point. All my snakes are gone. I put my last 5 on sale on Patreon, and I even I put it on sale on Patreon, and I think I left it for about a week, and then for the rest that were still available, I put another video out for my free Patreon supporters that they were available. And anyway, the point is, All those snakes are now not available, and the littlest retic is no longer available, but he's still here. So hold on, let me grab him. Hey, little one. Oh, this guy's going to be so happy to get a mouse today. He's going to eat a little mouse. So the cool thing about this guy is he is well socialized and target trained. He has his own target that's going to go with him when his new keeper picks him up. He's a quality individual, quality snake, this guy. I mean, how freaking cute is he, right? Let me see if I can get him focused again. Focus on him. I really like this guy. Going to miss him for sure. But when I got him, my plan when I got him was that I was not going to keep him. So it was that I wanted to have a little high percentage super dwarf. He happens to be anery also. He's like 86.5% super dwarf or something like that. And he's anery. And I just wanted to be able to work with him and then put him up for someone on Patreon. So Tina, I will be breeding Stella and Echo. That's the plan, but they're a couple years away from it at least. So you guys, the reason that I'm not keeping the littlest retic is that I got him at this auction with this plan, but I knew I would also fall in love with him. But the thing is, retics get a lot bigger than this, and I don't have a ton of room. And I do want to have one male retic that I'll be breeding with Echo and Stella, but I need that snake to have a number of morphs because I want this snake is anery, which is a recessive gene. It makes them a little bit more gray. And Echo and Stella are both possibly het for anery, so we could maybe get that, but that's it with that. So from a breeding standpoint, I need a male that's got a number of genes, and I've got to think about the space that I have, you know. So what I know about super dwarf retics is that they're all amazing, and I'm going to fall in love with all of them. So I need to find one that has the genetics that I want, and that's going to be an amazing snake. Like, you know, they're pretty easy to socialize. They're super smart. He's going to go up on my hat. Lori, thanks for this super chat. I can't stay, but Marie, Bindi, and Darwin say hi to everyone. That's great. Lori, thank you so much. It's so nice of you to super chat that, even though you're not staying. So the little clown pied that I just showed you guys, the little boy, Lori got the little girl clown pied that came out of that clutch, and that is Bindi. She's doing very well with Lori. Lori's got her in a great enclosure. And Marie came for me also. Marie was from my first clutch, and Lori got her, and that's an amazing snake as well. And Darwin, I never see Darwin because Darwin didn't come from me, but that was Lori's first. So Lori's a very good keeper of snakes. Okay. That Lori's clown pied, by the way, Bendy, is so beautiful. That was when that snake came out. I was like, oh man, I hope that's a male, because I really want to keep a male, and I hope that's a male. And it wasn't. It was female. So Lori got her. Jake, wow. My 50% Calato retake is 18 months old and 7'2". Wow, that is big. Size results vary. Yeah, that's true. That is true. it's, you know, a lot of that is food dependent, of course, you know, but yeah, size results will vary on retics for sure. You definitely want a proven bloodline. You know, if size is important to you, small size is important to you, you want to make sure that you see some of the, you know, you want to make sure that you're dealing with a breeder who understands bloodline, not just morph, and they're breeding small snakes, you know. Azara, thanks for reminding everyone to hit like and giving a super chat at the same time. It's really nice. I appreciate that. Anyway, this boy's great. So there was something I was going to say about the size of super dwarves, and I can't remember what it is. Oh, just that, you know, Daniel Solis has been, I think, twice to the little islands that super dwarves are from. Very hard to get to. Takes him a ton of travel and like negotiating with people to try to get him to like Kalatoa Island. But I have a picture that I got from a post that he did, and I saved the picture, and it's of a retic in a cave. It's a cave full of bats, and it's this little super dwarf retic that's posted up on the side of the cave, just waiting for a bat to fly by. And I love that picture because it's exactly what Echo does. She's still right there. Oh, she's awake. Great. It's exactly what Echo does. She posts up just like that wild super dwarf is doing, and she's waiting for a bat to fly by. So, you know, bats, I'm guessing nutritionally, bats are kind of like mice or rats. And I think super dwarves are eating on those little islands. I think they're eating a lot of those. But they're still, you know, they're small on those islands. They're small and thin. They're not fat. You don't see fat retics on those islands, you know. They're small and thin. So my guess is a bat is hard to catch. Even if there's 1,000 of them in that cave, it's probably hard to catch one. So look at this little boy. He knows how to navigate a hat and a microphone, which I don't want him to do. Liam, yes, I have great advice for this. Any tips on convincing parents who are very opposed to their children having pet reptiles? Yes. Here's the thing. I don't know how old you are, Liam, but it's going to be no time until you're 18 years old and have your own place. But here's the problem with getting a pet that your parents don't like is they're going to have to take care of that pet eventually. And so they just have to be on board. So there's that. They've got to be on board. And to get them on board, meaning you have to get them to like the idea of having a snake, you have to become an expert in that animal. And when you're an expert, start teaching them about it. And that's what makes people interested, is when they have knowledge about the animal. But it starts with you having all the knowledge. Like you've got to, it's going to take a while, you know, like just get obsessed with learning about snakes, and then give that to your parents. Hang on. I'm getting text from Erica, which means I probably missed something. Hold on. Okay, so that one I got. Let's see what this last one is. Kevin super chatted in. I missed it. Sorry, Kevin. Is there a way to bougie up a rat for Thanksgiving? Yeah, there is. You can put. That's a great. Let's see. Where is that? How long ago did that super chat happen that I missed? Oh, there it is. Thanks, Erica, for catching that. Sorry, Kevin. Here's what I would do to bougie up a rat for Thanksgiving. Put some chicken broth on it. Snakes, a lot of times snakes that aren't eating well will go for a rat that has some chicken broth on it. So that'll give them a little different flavor. Also, vanilla extract. is something that will sometimes make a non-eating snake take the rat. So put something fancy like that on it. That's what I would do. Thanks for that super chat. I'm glad we finally got it. And then I did get Lori's. Okay. So thanks, Erica, for looking out. The 3, let's see, you sent me 3, 2 of them I got, and then the 1 I didn't get. Okay. Great. Is that? Yeah. Okay. All right. I'd say we're pretty close to done. We've got, look at this though. We've got Anya trying to decide if she wants to come out and move around a little bit. Jenny Craig is doing what she normally does. Once she finds a hide that she likes, she usually tests out a few. But once she finds a hide that she likes, she's in the hide the whole time. So I normally just, once she's settled, I just get her out of the hide and put her in her cage, because it's better if she's settled in her cage, you know. But Anya is being bold, trying to decide what she wants to do. I love having all these extra hides. You know, if you free roam snakes, having hides like this is really cool. And really, I've said this before, but you know, when I free roam snakes, that doesn't mean that all the snakes that are out can just go wherever they want. I keep an eye on them. I know where they are. My big breeding female ball pythons can go wherever they want. Maya, my black-headed python, she can only be out when all the other snakes are not out, because she eats snakes. But when she's out, she can go wherever she wants. The snakes that fit in these hides, these medium hides, I'm watching all of them and I know where they are. So that means the retics, Echo. Oh, she's yawning. Shoot, I wish I had the camera on her. She yawns forever. Sorry, you missed it, but I caught it. Echo yawns for so long that I'll catch her in the middle of a yawn. So her thing, I'll look for my phone, find it, slowly pull up my camera app, and still be able to take a video of her yawning. That's how long she yawns for. Anyway, the point is, the snakes that use these hides, that I have all these extra black box hides, I keep an eye on them, because I don't want them going off the counter or off the cage stack. You know, Handsome Dan, when he's on top of the rack that he sits on all the time, I'm always keeping an eye on him. He's got hides also on top of there. So, but I love that Clint at Black Box Cages sent me the last big pallet order that I got of cages, came with a big box of all these hides. And it's so cool to have snake condos on my counter that these snakes can have fun in. All right. I'm putting the littlest retic back. He's looking for food, and he's going to get some tonight. He's a lucky boy. Hang on. Okay. I'd say that we are about done. Oh, Clint's in. Haha. I was just thinking, Clint, as I was talking about you, I was thinking, I haven't seen Clint in a live stream in a couple of, the last couple of live streams, Clint hasn't been in. I hope you guys have just been busy. Yeah, Clint from Black Box Cages, you guys. Get yourself a Black Box Cage. What's the you would think that I would know the discount code off the top of my head. Is it GRP 10? What's the GRP? I don't remember. There's a discount code, and if you watch any of my other videos, look at the end of the Patreon scroll, and it shows your discount code for black box cages. Scardry, thanks for the super chat. I need a light to help provide heat. Any recommended? Yeah, get a ceramic heat emitter. Don't get a light. You don't want a light as a heat source, because you've got to turn the light off at night, because your snake needs day-night cycle. They need to have their circadian rhythm, so they know when it's day and night. But a ceramic heat element or ceramic heat emitter is a non-lighted heat source that screws in just like a light bulb to a lamp. So get one of those. Ethan, thanks for the super chat. What size enclosure would you recommend starting out for a new ball python owner? Been watching for a while now. Love the videos. So it depends on the ball python. It doesn't really depend on the owner. It depends on the ball python. If you're getting a baby in a enclosure, on what size. Generally, you want an enclosure that's, like this. Generally, the smallest enclosure you want is one where the snake. I never know how to explain this properly, but I think you'll get it. The snake shouldn't be longer than one side plus one end of the enclosure. And a lot of people say that the enclosure should be as long or longer than the snake, and that's even better if it's that big. But certainly one side plus one end, that's that. And we talked earlier in the live stream with somebody who was asking me if a baby can go in a 4x2x2. So 4x2x2 is appropriate for most adult ball pythons. They can live in that their whole life. And a lot of babies will do fine in that. So if you want to get yourself a 4x2x2 black box, PVC enclosure that's all decked out, that's great for your baby ball python. If it's if they'll eat in that, like if you put them in there and they're eating, that means you have enough clutter, you have enough hides, and then they can just grow up in that enclosure and be in there the whole time. So there's a few options. But as I said before, earlier in the GRP is the discount code, you guys. That's what it is. For black box cages, GRP. Thanks, Clint. Anyway, as I was saying, I said this earlier in the thing, but it's important. If your snake, if you try that with your snake, big fancy enclosure, they don't eat, just go to the hardware store and get a little tub and put them in the tub with a heat mat and let them be in there for a while. Let them eat some meals, and then you can try out the bigger cage later. So sometimes it's a process, and the problem is you just don't know. If you're buying a snake, you don't know how they're going to do in a cage. You just have to try it. Last place winner. What would you recommend for children's pythons? I would recommend a cage that has some height, because they are more arboreal than ball pythons, and they stay small though. The Antaresia stay small. So I would, a 4x2x2 would be great for a children's python, but you could even go higher for them. Give them some room to play in the trees. Those are cool snakes. All right. I think we did it, you guys. Is there any other last minute? I'm gonna give it a minute for any last questions that people have. Anything burning desire to have me answer a question about anything. Doesn't even have to be snake related. It could be chemistry related. I know nothing of chemistry, but I'll answer your question. It's not going to be right, but Warrior Brood, this is a fantastic question. What hats are good for snakes to climb on? I'm going to show you the best hat for a snake to climb on. Actually, I'm going to show you two. Here's one that's pretty good. The reason this hat is pretty good is because it's hard. It's stiff. The problem with it though is that it's still pretty slippery. So the best hat that I have for a snake to climb on is this one. It's not as stiff as the other one, but they can hang on to it, right? It's got spots for them to hang on. They're not going to slide off you could slide off the front or back, but the sides are good. You know, it gives them some walls. This hat, my new hat, I'm super happy with. Not great for snakes to climb on because of that. Good question. I saw some super chats come in. Jennifer, you're so nice. Thanks so much for moderating today. I don't think you had to do anything. I bet you didn't have to do anything, but report back and let me know. But thanks for being there to moderate. It's so nice of you to super chat that. Dakota, thanks for your super chat again. Possibly a silly question, but do ball pythons use tubes/tunnels? Could I combine 2 cages with a tube or tunnel? Yeah, you can. Look at this. Oh, shoot. She's out. I had a snake that was using this tube. For sure. They like to be in tubes. Toilet paper rolls are great for baby ball pythons. They love to sit in them. It doesn't replace a hide. It's not a good hide, but it is something tight that they can squeeze their body in, and they like that. So I usually use, I use any toilet paper roll that I have, but I also use paper towel rolls that I cut in 3s. So just do that. I save all paper towel and toilet paper rolls. Michael has a burning question. Let's see what it is. Bob, I have a burning question that I would love for you to answer. You handsome devil. Thanks so much. How do you like your eggs in the morning? Oh, that's actually a great question. Over medium. Over medium is how I order them at a restaurant. But I generally I love breakfast food. I could eat breakfast food all day. That was a question earlier. What's my favorite meal? And I said Indian food, which it is. But breakfast food all day long for me, for sure. Omelets, waffles, all day, those are appropriate. Eggs, whatever. Clint is giving some good advice here. Ball pythons I've found will explore as much space as you give them. If you do connect multiple with a tube or tunnel, make sure you give them stuff to climb on to get in and out. Yeah, it's good advice. And that is true. Many ball pythons will use a lot of the space. I always say that the inspector doesn't use much of this enclosure. He's in his hide almost all the time. But in the middle of the night, if I wake up in the middle of the night and come out, he's out a lot of the time and he's using his space. He's crawling around. So it might not be a ton of time during a 24-hour day, but he uses it, you know. Okay, you guys, we're 2 hours, 13 minutes in, which means that I'm going to spend 2 hours and 13 minutes of my day tomorrow watching this and reading all your comments. I appreciate all your comments. I appreciate the views. You guys are fantastic. Thanks so much for the subscribes. I forgot this is our 50,000 subscriber celebration. I should have had little popper things. I didn't think that far ahead. I just got my new hat. Anyway, thanks you guys. I'll see you next time. Have a great week.